Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable, and this is my long run review of the Adidas ADIZERO Prime X Strung 3. So in this video I'll be telling you a little bit more about the shoe, how it felt on the long run that I did today from Barnet all the way to Camden, where I met my two of my daughters. The other one was working. So I'll let you know how it felt on the run, whether I think it's good for those long runs, what else I think this shoe is good for. This much maligned shoe, by the way, which I think is actually a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. But I'll also tell you about things I don't like about the shoe, and there are a few. So watch where I map out my run, some pictures and some videos of at the end of the run where I show you Camden Market. So you get an idea, a bit of a feel for what that special place is like in London, which is like nowhere on the planet. Hi, it's Ed from Runnable. Yes, it's this gorgeous bank holiday Monday. For once, it's not raining on a bank holiday. How about that? Must be a good day. The stars must have aligned last night. Talking of stars, I've got a pair of pretty good shoes on today. It's much maligned, but I think they are really good long distance cruisers, and they are, you got it, the Adidas ADIZERO Prime X Strung 3s. They're brute of a shoe, a tank of a shoe, but once you get into the cruise mode, you just keep going and flowing and flowing. I took them on a half marathon not long ago and I got a time of 1:21, and at the time I was pretty disappointed. But actually in these shoes, that's not a bad time, because they're not really racing shoes. I mean, you could run a marathon in them, you could run a half like I did, and if you're heavier, then I think they are going to be good shoes for that kind of thing, because you'll break down that foam. Fortunately, I'm a bit lighter, so I'm finding it really hard to compress the foam, get that nice compression decompression. So for me, they're more of a kind of rolling cruiser, and I get less bounce than I would like at the moment. But I think the more I use these shoes, like with the Prime X Strung 2, the more they'll come to life. And I can imagine, you know, when I'm hitting sort of 300-400 miles in this shoe, that's when I'm actually going to get the best out of them for me, which is kind of weird to wait that long to get the best out of a shoe, but it gives me something to look forward to. So anyway, I'm going to run from where I live all the way, I hope, to Camden to meet my daughters, through some of the parks. I'll do some filming on the way, but mostly when I get to Camden, I would have thought, because that's what you want to see. These parks are great, but Camden Market, a place like that, different level. It's one of the most unique places in the world. It's a bit touristy, I have to say, and today it's going to be crazy, but my kids love it, and if they love it, I love it. So I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Okay, so you join me as I'm just about to take on the Ali Pali Hill in the Prime X Strung 3s. So I'm running, how much have I done so far? Nearly 13k from my house to Ali Pali. So we've gone via Oakley Park, Arnors Park, and now we're pretty much kind of, well, not halfway, a bit over halfway actually, but we're about to take on the harder bits of this run of mine, because there's lots of hills coming up and running through trails and woodland. So it will give us an idea of just how stable the Prime X Strung 3s are. because we know they're not particularly light, and we know they're not as bouncy and as fun as the first version, but are they more versatile for these long runs? Can you use them on, you know, non-technical trails? That kind of thing, we'll find out. And can you go up hills in them? It's killing me. That 10k I did yesterday, I can feel it in my legs for sure. That 10k race. But these are the runs, these longer, slower efforts. These are the runs that allow you to get those good times, to ace those marathons, half marathons, 10ks. These slow, methodical runs where you really don't really feel like it, but you do them anyway. They're your magic runs, not the races that everyone goes on about. It's these. You run, you train. You run, you train. And then the races are a bonus. They're a product of that training. But it's the training that's an important thing. And yeah, it really is a killer hill, this one. Such good training. Just goes on and on and on. For anyone who's done Ali Pali hills before, you know exactly what I mean. It really is a brutal hill, but a really good training if you're doing an awkward marathon like I am in New York with all those humpback bridges. None of them are going to feel as hard as this, I can tell you. And the Prime X Strung 3 has got me up that hill in decent fashion, given how wrecked my legs are from the day before. I'm up, and I feel good. Well, maybe good is stretching here. Feel okay. That's probably the hardest bit of the run over. That was the bit I was dreading the most. There's a few awkward hills in the woods that are just not as long. And for those that have done a lot of running, you'll know what I mean by those steepish, long hills are the ones that kill you. Not the short, sharp ones. It's those ones that just go on and on and on. They break you physically and mentally. But not today, Ali Pali Hill, not today. You won't break a runnable head. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Check out Ali Pali. Oh, what an amazing place this is. Check out the views as well, all over London. Let's go over here. You see in the distance the Shard over there. You see that? You should be able to see that. Wow, the landscape. Jesus, if you had a house overlooking that, it would be worth something, wouldn't it? Some lucky devil somewhere will have. You cannot pay enough money for this view on a clear day like this. Amazing. Anyway, must get on. I'll see you soon. Bye bye, Ali Pali. See you next time. Okay, so you join me as I'm just about to take on the Ali Pali Hill in the Prime X Strung 3s. So I'm running, how much have I done so far? Nearly 13k from my house to Ali Pali. So we've gone via Oakley Park, Arnors Park, and now we're pretty much kind of, well, not halfway, a bit over halfway actually, but we're about to take on the harder bits of this run of mine, because there's lots of hills coming up and running through trails and woodland. So it will give us an idea of just how stable the Prime X Strung 3s are, because we know they're not particularly light, and we know they're not as bouncy and as fun as the first version, but are they more versatile for these long runs? Can you use them on, you know, non-technical trails? That kind of thing, we'll find out. And can you go up hills in them? It's killing me. That 10k I did yesterday, I can feel it in my legs for sure. That 10k race. But these are the runs, these longer, slower efforts. These are the runs that allow you to get those good times, to ace those marathons, half marathons, 10ks. These slow, methodical runs where you really don't really feel like it, but you do them anyway. They're your magic runs, not the races that everyone goes on about. It's these. You run, you train. You run, you train. And then the races are a bonus. They're a product of that training. But it's the training that's an important thing. And yeah, it really is a killer hill, this one. Such good training. Just goes on and on and on. For anyone who's done Ali Pali hills before, you know exactly what I mean. It really is a brutal hill, but a really good training if you're doing an awkward marathon like I am in New York with all those humpback bridges. None of them are going to feel as hard as this, I can tell you. And the Prime X Strung 3 has got me up that hill in decent fashion, given how wrecked my legs are from the day before. I'm up and I feel good. Well, maybe good is stretching here. Feel okay. That's probably the hardest bit of the run over. That was the bit I was dreading the most. There's a few awkward hills in the woods that are just not as long. And for those that have done a lot of running, you'll know what I mean by those steepish, long hills are the ones that kill you, not the short, sharp ones. It's those ones that just go on and on and on. They break you physically and mentally. But not today, Ali Pali Hill, not today. You won't break a runnable head. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Check out Ali Pali. Oh, what an amazing place this is. Check out the views as well, all over London. Let's go again. You see in the distance the Shard over there. You see that? You should be able to see that. Wow, the landscape. Jesus, if you had a house overlooking that, it would be worth something, wouldn't it? Some lucky devil somewhere will have. You cannot pay enough money for this view on a clear day like this. Amazing. Anyway, must get on. I'll see you soon. Bye bye, Ali Pali. See you next time. Okay, so we're now in a wood, the famous Highgate Woods. Highgate Woods, one of my favourite woods in North London. Really nice cafe here, which unfortunately I don't have time to go to. Stop my watch. And yeah, it's absolutely lovely wood. And glad to say these shoes are gripping rather well at the moment, even on this terrain. It's loose gravel, although I've just got a fly in my eye, which doesn't help. Yeah, I hate getting flies in my eye. Anyway, stop moaning it. So, what are we at? We're at 14.5k. So just when the aches start kicking in, really. If you've done a 10k the day before, especially so. The shoes are keeping me bouncing along, cruising along, even on this terrain. It's beautiful, isn't it, this woods? Just with the trees arching over to create that kind of tree tunnel effect, with the light piercing through the branches to give that kind of mottled flooring of light and dark everywhere. So nice. Anyway, back to the shoes. Yeah, they feel remarkably stable running through this wood. Really nice, grippy. We all know Adidas make good grips, and this light traction and continental grip is one of the best out there. So even given the stack height of this shoe, there's absolutely no issue whatsoever with the grip. Right, so we're coming out of Highgate Woods and we're going to go into another wood called Queenswood. Those that know this area will know exactly where I mean. I've come out a little bit early. I always get that wrong. I've gone one gate too early, but we'll be there pretty soon. So yeah, Queenswood's a lovely wood as well. Right next to Highgate Wood, and we're edging our way to Highgate itself, and then from there we'll be doing the Parkland Way to Finsbury Park. Now, not going the most direct of routes because I wanted to go through all this woodland, plus it's great training for me with the hills. So we're in Queenswood now. Actually, I didn't take a picture. I'll go back. Hang on. Take a picture of the sign. There might not be another one. Oh. There we go. Quits with Queenswood. See? Okay, so taking a picture of the sign for the video. It's a nice cafe over there. Haven't got time, I'm afraid. So like I said, we're taking not exactly a direct route, but we're going through the woods, edging our way to near Highgate Tube, and then from there you can take a disused railway line. Those that live around that area will know exactly what I mean, called the Parkland Way, and that takes you to Finsbury Park, and that'll be pretty much the end of the scenic leg of this trip. And then we'll be taking the Camden road all the way to Camden. It's a long road, busy road, so I'm enjoying these woods while I can. Just shows how nice North London is, right? How beautiful. So my legs are pretty trashed from yesterday, to be honest. Yeah, they're not feeling the best. Not feeling terrible either, but they're just achy. And I really do need to look after them at the moment. So doing races like the one I did is all well and good, but if you don't look after your legs, you won't be doing too many races. And these shoes, these Prime X3s, one thing they have is a lot of cushion, good cushion. So they're really good for that kind of thing, for protecting the legs. They're not the, as we know, they're not the, well, crikey, this is a bit of a hill. They're not the softest of shoes, so your legs do take a bit of a pounding. But I think the cushion it gives you with this light traction, Lightstrike Pro foam, more than makes up for that, to be honest. You've got a lot of cushion here. You've got this 50mm of stack in the heel, and you've got well over 40 in the forefoot, well over 40 in the forefoot, which is fairly unique, right? Not many shoes have that. So with all that cushion, you can't really help but feel well supported in this shoe, if even if it isn't the most comfortable. Right, here we go. Gone back on myself a little bit. Again, this bit's a bit confusing, but we'll find where we're meant to be going next, won't we? Here we go. Up here and across. So yeah, so I've done this run from Ali Pali through Highgate and Queenswood quite a few times actually. I started it when I was marathon training for Boston in 2023, and I've kept doing it because it has that unique blend of being very picturesque, but also having these amazing hills, up and downs, that build this strength in your legs. Right, we're going down one now. You get all these nice features like logs, trees that have fallen, that nobody can move because they weigh a ton, but why would you? Great places to sit down. You get these steps. You just got to be careful you don't deck it. Really just take it out of your quads. But it's a beautiful, beautiful run, this one. Hope you're enjoying it. Yeah. Right, so coming to the end of Queenswood. So I'll leave you for a bit, and then we'll join up on the Parklands Way. So this is the Parkland Way in Finsbury Park. There's a bit of graffiti we don't like. Boo! Sorry, Arsenal fans. But it's a disused railway line, as you can see. And it's a really nice route. Basically between Highgate and Finsbury Park. It's quite flat, as you would imagine. Being an old railway line, it's a little bit tricky underfoot, in the sense you've got this, it's not loose gravel, it's kind of stuck on stone, you know, when you land it feels very hard. Pebbles that are lodged in the ground, they don't move. Well, some move, but most don't. So you get that harsh feeling on your foot. Bits of concrete sticking up from when they had their lines here, so it can feel a bit severe on your feet, this bit. And then there's some nice sandy areas which takes it out of your legs but feels much nicer on your feet. But all in all, a lovely route to run between Finsbury Park and Highgate, or Highgate Finsbury Park, like I'm doing. Cross bridges, there's a sandy bit here with loose gravel, and the shoes are doing a good job. You really would feel it on this if it was they were unstable, if the foam was bouncing you left and right. You really would feel it. She feels quite nice. Because they are that bit firmer than most people expected, they're definitely more stable than you might imagine given the huge stack, and they're absorbing the impact of these stones, pebbles and concrete under my foot, which is good because I've got some problems with my right foot at the moment, which I feel like it's plantar. It gets a bit sore in the mornings, and then at some point during runs I start to feel it a little bit more of an ache than a severe pain, but still it's bloody annoying. So yeah, this Parkland Way is about 2.5 miles, so I know some people have used it for training. They run up and down here, do kind of their outs and backs of this for their marathon training, because it is flat, because it's direct, and because it's just easy basically. If you live in Highgate or you live in Finsbury Park, why not? I feel like you could have a race down here as well. I mean, you could start it in Finsbury Park, do a kilometre there, and then do the rest along here, and you could have a 5k race. You'd need to be careful with your shoe choices though, because if you're going to motor on this surface, you're going to need something with decent grip and something that isn't ridiculously unstable. I can get away with it with these, but I'm not sure I want to be taking the Wave Rebellion Pro Beaters down here anytime soon. Something like that, I think you'd really struggle on this surface. Anyway, we're coming to the end. Parkland's Way. We're approaching Finsbury Park in a minute, which is just as well because I'm behind schedule. Right, here we go. Ooh. Yeah. Across the bridge, and then we're in Finsbury Park. Okay. Right, here we are. Finsbury Park, folks. Alright, I'll leave you for a bit. Got to get a move on. But this is, just for quickly, this is a place where they do loads of festivals. I've seen Pulp here. I think they have a few other ones, some big ones. I can't remember the name of it, but there's one that's huge that they have here. Tends to attract the younger crowd. If you know what that is, put it in the comments. I can't remember at the moment. They might have something at the moment, or is that fun fair over there? I can see all the boards up, so makes it seem like there might be something going on. It's got tennis courts, cafes, nice park to be honest. I've seen, going back to gigs, I've seen Stone Roses, I've seen Arctic Monkeys here. I've seen Stone Roses a couple of times here, and it was absolute chaos. I remember losing my shoes that night, getting in the middle of it all and getting thrown about like a rag doll and losing my shoes, and had to go home with just my socks on. So that's another random topic of conversation for another day, but I have to get a move on, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye. Right, you get an idea of the market here. Very busy place. Now I need to find my kids. All these different stalls. Look, if you're into shopping, you'd love it here. Right, here we go. Food area. Here we go. They'll be here somewhere. All sorts of places to eat. And look at these amazing barge boats. And this is where I'll leave you, folks. Have a good look around, and I'll see you soon. Love you all. Bye bye. Okay, some very quick stats on the Prime X Strung 3. So in my UK size 9.5, and I went up half a size, mainly because of this strung upper, which really rubs my wide foot. So I went up half a size to take the pressure off my toes, to give me a little bit more room. I think that was the right choice. I still get a little bit of rubbing, but it's nowhere near as much as I got in the Prime X Strung 2. It's probably in line, a bit more in line with the OG. Maybe this actually is the best strung upper of the three, but we'll go into talk about that in a minute when we talk about the upper. But I did go half a size up, just to let you know. In terms of weight, it comes in at 305 grams in my UK size 9.5. That's about 20 grams less than version 2, but it is getting on for 30 grams more than version 1. So at least we're coming down in weight somewhat from version 2, which a lot of people deemed way too heavy, way too bottom heavy. So that's a slight positive over the second version. In terms of stack height, you've got your usual 50 millimeters in the heel. You've got a 7 millimeter drop, giving you 43 millimeters in the forefoot, meaning you've got a huge wedge foam here. The different types of foams as well. We'll talk about midsole in a minute, but you've got this light traction, more dense foam, this red foam here, in sandwiched between the two, well, between the plate and the rods. You've got softer foam straight under the foot, and you've got another softer foam at the bottom there. I'll talk a bit more about that when we talk about the midsole. In terms of the upper, you've got this strung upper. I personally am not a massive fan of this. This is one of the downsides of the shoe. I much prefer the uppers that are in the Adidas Pro 4. That lightweight, really nice upper that kind of molds to your foot. This isn't malleable at all. It doesn't move. So if your toes are rubbing against this, they really do get some abrasion, which I don't like. I've had some severe toe issues in this before. Not so much in this actually, more in the second version. Found the first version also problematic. This though is the best of the three. You've got a slightly wider area in the forefoot. It's a little bit more dialed in terms of volume, but there's a bit more width there, so it accommodates the toes a little bit better. But I still, even with that, over that 16-mile run that I did today, I still got some rubbing. Still isn't the nicest upper. You've got this one-piece booty style fit. I do normally quite like those. You've got that with the Neo Vista 2. I like the way it kind of hugs around your midfoot and your ankle. There's literally hardly any padding in the collar. There's a little bit here. You can see there. You can see it there, can't you? A bit there, a bit there, and it's got a really flexible heel counter, similar actually to version 2 and version 1 for that matter. The lockdown is better in this shoe definitely than version 2, similar to version 1. So the upper, all in all, I think it's an improvement over version 2. and I think it's probably an improvement over version 1. So it's the best strung upper of all three. I'm just not a fan of this upper. I don't see the point of it. It's abrasive, it's rough, it's not flexible, it's heavier than you know, the one they've got in the Pro 4. Just switch this out for the Pro 4 upper. Give the Pro 4 upper, put it on here, add a little bit of structure because of this huge stack, and then you've got an absolute winner. So I really do hope, I know they'll have to get rid of the strung line, but I really do hope they get rid of this upper for the next version of the Prime X. That's my thoughts on the upper. Outsole, absolute fantastic outsole. If the upper's a 3 out of 5, this is a 5 out of 5. This light traction and the Continental rubber just can't be beaten. I actually think the light traction is even a level above Puma grip, and that's saying something. The only one thing I would say about this upper is this chasm's quite deep. So if you're hitting this heel quite with quite a lot of weight, you might get a little bit of splaying, but this foam is firm enough, I think, to deal with that. So outsole, very grippy, and all in all, 5 out of 5 outsole. Midsole now. It's a bit confusing, this one, so let's go through everything that's in here. So you've got a carbon plate here that seems to go all the way back. You can see it's the lip that sticks out the back there. And then you've got rods, as you can see through here, at the bottom here. And then in between that, sandwich what I would have thought would have been the softer, more bouncy Lightstrike Pro, but it's actually the most dense. So this is the denser foam. Maybe they thought that it would be too wild a shoe if they put the same TPE foam here that you've got in the Adidas Pro 4. It's a shame, because I think they should have gone for that. If you're going to buy this shoe, you expect it to be trouble. You expect it to be a bit of a stallion, a bit of a wild ride, a bit of a rodeo ride. And really, they've tamed it by doing that. You've got the softer foam here, which might be that TPE foam. It's quite soft. And you've got also soft-ish foam at the bottom. But this, which I was hoping was that same foam that's in the Adidas Pro 4, is actually quite firm. So what that means is that the ride in this is quite a firm ride. If you're like me, if you're landing anywhere around here, you've got the harshness of the plate, this harsh, dense foam, and then you've got the rods all under your foot. So your feet take a bit of a pounding in this shoe. It needs a lot of breaking in. And I do believe that for someone like me, who's 5'9", 63, 64 kg, who's not a heavier runner, this is not the ideal midsole for me. For you heavier runners, I think it could be amazing. Once you break this in, once this compresses and you get this nice decompression, I think you're going to get a lovely bouncy ride. For me, I sit too much on top of the plate, and I don't seem to be able to engage that plate enough to compress this foam and get that really nice wild bounce forward. But I still think it's a good midsole, and you know, I wouldn't mark it heavily down for what I'm saying, because on that long run today, it just keeps me flowing, cruising. All right, it can feel a little bit harsh at times, but actually, because it's a bit denser, because it's a bit firmer, I just roll through my stride. There's no sinking in. So it doesn't feel like it's sapping my energy whatsoever. I'm getting a nice pang and flow forward. I'm not getting that kind of sinking feeling and going forward, which over the course of a 16-mile run can really sap your energy. You don't get that in this shoe. So my legs felt reasonably good, if not a little bit beaten up by how firm it is. But in terms of actually being tired, they felt reasonably good. And considering I ran a 10K race the day before, I expected them to feel far worse after that 16-mile run. They didn't. This felt pretty good. I also took this on some trails and through some woods, some off-road running, and it performed really well. It was actually a lot more stable than I expected. So let's talk a little bit about that. So stability wise, this shoe actually feels quite stable. I think because it's firmer, I think because you've got this huge wide base here to land on. Maybe if you're landing a bit further back, it might be a bit more unstable, but if you're landing anywhere around here, it feels really stable. It doesn't feel as wild, anywhere near as wild as the first version. It's got a much wider platform than the first version. Just look at the difference there. Look at the difference from the second version. You know, it's just wider, folks. Maybe not in the heel, but in the forefoot area. So you've got what I would consider, and it's a mad thing to say, at 50 millimeters of stack height, you've got a half decent, stable ride here. I think it's going to be an absolute winner in terms of durability as well. I mean, it's going to take some doing to break this foam down, and for this outsole to kind of get worn in. It's a really good compound, this light traction. They use it a lot on the Chinese super shoes, and it's renowned for being a really nice rubber compound that's really hard wearing and it has good traction. Okay, so the things I like about this shoe, I like how it just keeps me rolling along. I like how it's a good cruiser. It keeps my feet nice and cushioned, my legs nice and cushioned. And all in all, I think this is quite a speedy, long run shoe that you can hit good pace in. Great for those marathon pace runs. What I don't like is the upper, it's too abrasive. I also find that it's slightly too heavy. I'd much prefer it to get down to the OG's pace. For lighter runners like me, it's hard to break down this foam, so it feels a bit firm. But all in all, if you're a heavier runner and you're somebody who wants a shoe to do all your kind of long runs, to do some of your racing even in, then this isn't a bad option actually. For people like me who are lighter, you just have to understand that you're going to have to break the shoe in. But even so, it's still a decent shoe for doing those long runs where you just want to go quicker. You want to go get them out of the way, but still hit a decent pace. But at the same time, you want a decent amount of cushioning to save your legs for the next day where you're going to be training again. Such a vibrant market. Anyone who comes to London has got to come to this market. It's like nowhere on the planet. So many different food stalls, shops. So that Bang Bang chicken looks good to me. My daughter's gone for sushi. Let's have a look at that. Oh, look at that.
It's better not be going online.